So in this video I'm going to make a small teddy bear out of this leftover fuzzy cloth and some leftover cloth that I have, using this little teddy bear pattern that I printed online, and I have the link in the video, and I also have a link I'll put in the video below. It's one of those patterns that you can print it out, different sizes, whatever you want. It's a template. It was on a wiki how to do video. It's a very simple one because it's a cat toy. I made it very small, like maybe 1/4 of the page of a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, just regular printing paper. And then I will pin it onto this cloth so that I get the whole teddy bear, 2 different pieces with the whole teddy bear. And it's a really simple little hand sewing project, and it makes just a really lovely little teddy bear that our cat just loves, and he chases it up and down the hall. So first things first, I'll take this teddy bear and pin it to the cloth so that I can then cut it out and go from there. Just so you get an idea of the size of the teddy bear, this was the piece of paper that I cut him out of. So he's really not very big. You won't need a whole lot of cloth. You will need some cloth or something you can use for stuffing. I have old leftover cloth from various projects that will do fine for stuffing. And this is, of course, is Ramses the Great, who is currently napping with the last one that I made him. So they turn out quite small, and he loves to chase it up and down the hallway. Thank you, Ramses, for your time. So here's Teddy all pinned to the cloth, and now all I have to do is cut out the cloth teddy bear, and because I've got the cloth folded over, you'll have 2 exactly the same teddy bear parts to work with. If you wanted to do it on a fold, I would suppose you could fold the teddy bear, but this is just as easy for the little amount of cloth I got, which I had gotten quite a long time ago at a thrift store in a bag of cloth that I had gotten, and I had always thought it's cute and I could use it for something, but I wasn't quite sure what to use it for until we got Ramses. And the first teddy bear he loved so much that I ended up having to dig it out from under stuff. So now I'm using it all up by making these little teddy bears for Ramses the Great. So as you can see, I have the teddy bear shape cut out. There's 2 pieces, and all I have to do is remove the pins and show you how to piece them together. So as you can see, here are my 2 little teddy bear pieces made from using that teddy bear. And to put them together, you have to have the furry sides facing each other. Then pin them together. And I'll show you a neat little trick that you can get them pinned once they're pinned, and where to sew and how to sew it so that you don't end up showing a lot of lines on the top. But keep in mind, this is for a kitty, and kitties aren't incredibly picky. As long as they can throw things around, they're quite happy little muffins. So I pin because I find it easier to hold everything in place so that it's nice and straight. Then I start sewing around here and up through around here down to the end here. I leave all this open because you're going to have to turn it inside out at one point. And the way I sew it twice, the whole area around it. And I kind of do a round sew so that it holds it a little better, and doing it double makes it hold together even better. I'll have my help with camera in a minute to show you how I do the sewing. It does make it a little sturdier because kittens are notoriously good at destroying toys. And so a sturdy toy is not necessarily a bad thing with kittens. So when I get the thread on the needle, I double the thread, and then I knot the double at the end so that it's knotted, so that when you start sewing it's not going to come out on you. You don't have to be a seamstress to do one of these. You can hand sew without very much trouble. So what I do is I put the thread kind of at the bottom part, or the needle at the bottom part of the leg. I pull it through once, and then I put it through the bottom again, right next to where I put the first one. And I just keep doing that. Same stitch over and over, as close to the edge. Not be careful that you catch both pieces of cloth. So keep doing that. You'll have to make sure you put a fair amount of stitches in, because you want to hold them together. You don't want his guts coming out, just to be blunt, because that would get messy and the kitten would be pulling stuff all over the place. So just keep doing this kind of sewing all the way around, just as though you were outlining the bear. Okay, so when you get to the end, because I've done all the sewing all the way around the teddy bear, you probably would be smart to do a finishing stitch where you pull the thread through the loop, and of course it knotted on me. You pull the thread through a loop and that locks it, and then continue and do another round, again leaving the bottom opened, because that's where you're going to turn it right side out and put the stuffing in. So I just need to do another round along the edge of this just to make sure it's good and closed. So I've finished sewing all the way around twice in that way that I've shown you. So I left the whole bottom open because we're going to have to turn the teddy bear right side out, and of course we'll need some way to stuff him. So when you're putting him right side out, be sure that you pop out the little ears and little arms so that they kind of pop out. Otherwise it's not going to look like a teddy bear. So there's one little arm, there's another little arm, and he may be a little lopsided, but believe me, Ramses hasn't put any complaints forward about the service. Now the next step is to stuff it with whatever it is you're going to stuff it with. Make sure you fill out the little ears and the little arms with whatever you're stuffing with, so that they fill out like a teddy bear. And fill it in the end so that's a little overfull, because you still have to fill up the legs a bit. So this is kind of the first step of getting the teddy bear. It looks teddy bear-ish. And now I just have to stuff him. Okay, so I have scraps left over from making the teddy bear, and there's not enough to make any more teddy bears, so I can actually just use scraps of the teddy bear to stuff the teddy bear. And the first few little pieces, if you can make the pieces small enough, should get stuffed into the arms and ears and stuff like that. So it's a little tricky to do this for a camera, but so I've got one scrap stuck into this ear. I'm getting another scrap in, and I'm stuffing that first part into the other ear, and then you just keep stuffing, making sure to fill out the little arms with stuff, and make sure to stuff it fairly good. And you can use any kind of scraps that you have left over. You may have to cut some or rip them or whatever, depending on how big your scraps are. And I keep scraps from all my projects because I can use it to stuff things. So if you stuff it fairly well, because you still need to have some legs, then in the end I'll show you how to sew him up. But right now is the hard part of getting all the stuffings in the right places so it looks teddy bear-ish. So now I've got all the stuffing in, and I'm just going to continue sewing, but instead of on the inside, on the outside, but continue sewing in the same manner as you did on the inside. And what ends up happening is you don't see as many seams and things as you would otherwise, and all the seams are down in the legs. So then you just move things around until it's all stuffed the way you want it, and then you can add a face if you want, using some floss. You can add face, whatever you want, or you don't have to have a face. After all, the kitten is just going to want to play with it, maybe sleep with it. So you want it sewn as double sewn on the legs, sewn as strong as you can with the double thread, just because you really need it to be pretty sturdy for the cat to enjoy playing with it. And that's how you make a little toy. Now, if you want part of the stuffing to be catnip, you can take some catnip and pour it inside with the stuffings, and it would be that much more of a treat for you. So this one, as you can see, I put little eyes, a nose, and a mouth on it using some embroidery floss. And if you feel like doing that, you can, or you can add other things to it, or just leave it plain. And this is kind of how a front looks and a back looks, since I had two that I made today. And they make lovely toys for the cat. He loves to bat them around. Thanks for watching our video. Please like, subscribe, and feel free to share. We've enjoyed doing this video. Thank you again for watching.